Let's check out the links and the horse shit.
July 2nd, 2005. A man enters Enumclaw Community Hospital with his incapacitated friend in tow. He quickly asks the staff to help his friend, then disappears before identifying himself. His friend is rushed to the emergency room, but it's too late. He's already dead before doctors could do anything to help him. According to the Enumclaw County Medical Examiner's Office, he died of acute peritonitis due to the perforation of the colon. The cause? Taking it up the ass from a horse. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of Mr. Hands.
Hey Forsen, did you know that the San
This video is
Francisco
sponsored by
49ers have the #1 offense according to DRA? They have a high-powered offense propelled by the last pick of the NFL draft by the name of Brock Purdy.
I did not know that, because I'm not a fucking normie.
that gets requested the most. And at first I had actually thought that I hadn't watched the original video. Then I looked it up and it all came back to me in an instant. From what I've seen, the uploads of it that are floating around online right now are edited. The audio is removed and the intro has been cut out. But I was able to find archived uploads of the original dating back as far as August of 2006. It begins with that classic Windows Movie Maker title animation, the kind that reminds me of those top 10 heaviest metalcore breakdown compilations. It reads, Zeta Mo Beta Productions presents Deep Thrusts, starring Mr. Hands and Super Stud the Wonder Horse. I can't play you the rest, obviously, but here's the play-by-play. The film opens with a nighttime shot of a man in a gray hoodie with his pants pulled down. He's bent over next to a horse. Another man, also dressed in a gray hoodie, pulls on the horse's front leg. After some pulling, the horse mounts the pantsless individual, and this move brings the horse's massive erection into the frame. With a little bit of a struggle, the other man guides the horsecock into his friend's ass. The horse is bracing itself, the guy's gasping, and then you get this sound that's like squishing your hand in a plastic bag full of macaroni. Also, the guy seems to have 3 spikes on his balls. Because of the low resolution, it's hard to tell if they're piercings or some kind of growths. The horse starts thrusting really hard and the guy makes these sounds that are like you're touching the walls in Doom looking for the secret, but there's no secret to be found. Then the horse busts, he withdraws from the guy's ass, and the other guy goes, "He came," with his voice of absolute wonderment. Then he reaches out and starts swatting at the horse dick like a cat playing with a toy mouse. The guy that got diddled goes, "Oh God," in a half-pained, half-pleasured voice. And that's the end. The whole ordeal lasts about 42 seconds. And legend has it that this man died shortly after the video. So how did these guys find themselves in this predicament? In the before times, before the internet, you might have a guy here and there that was interested in hooking up with an animal. You know, like the archetypal sheep fucker of the Scottish countryside. But before the internet, most of these kinds of guys probably just went through life thinking that there is a specific thing messed up with only them. And with no outlet for their paraphilia, they basically just defaulted to living a normal life. But with the internet, all of a sudden these people start finding each other. Although very, very rarely would these people ever meet in real life for obvious reasons. But there's one exception. A little enclave of horse fuckers in Washington state. In fact, according to Charles Matutta, the writer of the documentary Zoo, this was the only real-life zoophilia club of this sort that him and his team were able to find. And of all the states in the US that this could possibly happen, Washington was a likely candidate. You see, this is because at the time, Washington was one of a handful of US states in which bestiality was legal. Although you might think, oh, this is because they hadn't had an incident yet to merit a law being made. In the case of Washington, there actually was a law, but it got repealed in 1976. Around this time, Washington was one of many states that was repealing their laws forbidding anal and oral sex. But in the case of Washington, the laws against bestiality were attached to these laws. So once these laws were repealed, bestiality effectively became legal. And thus, Washington state becomes the horsefucker's paradise. But even with the law set up in their favor, there were a few other states where you could do such a thing. But Washington had one thing that the other states didn't. A man named James Michael Tate. James Michael Tate lived in a trailer that was next to a farm that was the home to several horses. He was also involved in the online zoophile community. But unlike most of his peers, he was actually interested in cultivating a real-life group of people with this shared interest.